I'm Margaret. I'm 73 years old now, and if I could go back and shake my younger self awake, I would. Because here's what nobody tells you when you're in your 20s and 30s. Time doesn't slow down, it speeds up. And before you know it, you're standing where I am, looking back at all the things you meant to do, all the words you never said, all the chances you were too afraid to take. I spent so many years worrying about what people thought of me, worrying if I was good enough, pretty enough, successful enough. I'd lie awake at night replaying conversations, wondering if I said the wrong thing, if someone was judging me. And you know what? All that worry, all those sleepless nights, they didn't change a single thing. The people I was so concerned about? Most of them weren't even thinking about me. They were too busy worrying about themselves. When I was 18, I got married. 18. I look at 18-year-olds now, and they're still children, really. Beautiful, hopeful children. But I thought I knew everything. I thought love was enough. My parents tried to talk to me, tried to tell me to wait, to live a little first, but I wouldn't listen. I was stubborn, I was in love, and I was terrified of being alone. That marriage lasted 7 years. 7 years of trying to grow up while being married, of trying to figure out who I was while being someone's wife. We divorced when I was 25, and I felt like such a failure, like I had wasted the best years of my life. But here's what I understand now. Sitting here decades later, those years weren't wasted. They taught me something crucial. They taught me that you can't build a life with someone else until you know who you are by yourself. If I could tell my younger self anything, it would be this: slow down. Stop rushing toward some imaginary finish line. There's no prize for getting married first, for having kids first, for buying a house first. Life isn't a race, even though it feels like one when you're young and everyone around you seems to be moving forward faster than you are. I watch young people today and I see the same panic I felt. This desperate need to have everything figured out by 25, by 30, and I want to grab them by the shoulders and say, "You have time. More time than you think." But I know they won't believe me, just like I didn't believe the older people who tried to tell me the same thing. Here's something else I wish I'd known. The things that feel enormous when you're young, the things that feel like the end of the world, they shrink as you get older. That job you didn't get? That person who rejected you? That embarrassing thing you said at a party that you're still thinking about 5 years later? Nobody else remembers it. Nobody else cares. And eventually, neither will you. I spent 20 years working as a nurse, and I can tell you something about death that might sound strange. It clarifies things. I held the hands of people much younger than me as they died. People in their 40s, their 50s, people who thought they had decades left. And do you know what they talked about in those final days? Not their careers, not their bank accounts, not whether they had the right car or the right clothes or the right body. They talked about people they loved. They talked about moments they wished they'd savored. They talked about grudges they wished they'd let go of. Trips they never took, words they never said. One woman, she was only 52, she kept saying, "I should have danced more. Why didn't I dance more?" She didn't mean literally, though maybe she did. She meant she should have let herself be silly, be joyful, be free. But she was always too worried about looking foolish, about what other people would think. I carried that with me. After she died, I started dancing in my kitchen when I made breakfast. Stupid, small thing. But it made me happy. And I realized I'd spent so much of my life not doing things that made me happy because I was afraid of being judged. The older I get, the more invisible I become. And you know what? There's a strange freedom in that. When I was younger, men would look at me, people would notice me, and I built so much of my worth around that attention. Now, I can walk into a room and nobody looks twice. And at first it hurt. It felt like proof that I didn't matter anymore. But then I realized I'm finally free to just be myself. Not performing, not trying to impress anyone. Just Margaret. I wish I'd had that freedom when I was young enough to really use it. I wish I'd traveled when my knees didn't ache, when I could still sleep on a cheap hostel bed and think it was an adventure instead of a punishment. My husband and I, we waited to travel until we could afford nice hotels, proper tours. And yes, the trips are lovely. But we're tired. We can't walk as far. We can't stay up as late. We saved all this money to travel comfortably, but we lost the energy to really explore. If I could do it again, I'd go when I was 25, with nothing but a backpack and a sense of wonder. I'd sleep on beaches and in train stations, and I'd eat street food and get lost in cities where I didn't speak the language. Because that's when you're supposed to do those things, when your body can handle it, when you still feel invincible. People always ask me if I have regrets. Of course I do. I regret not being kinder. I regret holding grudges over silly things, staying angry at people who were just doing their best, just like I was. I got so caught up in being right, in defending myself, in protecting my pride. And what did it get me? Nothing. Just wasted time and broken relationships that I'll never get back. My sister and I didn't speak for 3 years over something so stupid I can barely remember what it was now. Something about a family gathering, about who said what to whom. 3 years. She died 6 years ago, and I still think about those 3 years we lost. The holidays we didn't share, the phone calls we didn't make. All because we were both too stubborn to say, "I'm sorry, I love you, this doesn't matter." That's what age teaches you, if you're paying attention. Most things don't matter. Not the way you think they do when you're in the middle of them. The argument with your friend, the mistake you made at work, the person who didn't love you back. These things feel catastrophic when they happen. But time passes, and you realize they were just small moments in a very long life. What does matter? The people you love, the moments you're fully present for, the kindness you show even when it's hard, the courage to be yourself even when it's scary, the willingness to forgive, especially yourself. I look at young people now, glued to their phones, obsessed with likes and followers and comments, and I feel sad for them. Not because I think they're doing something wrong, but because I remember what it felt like to care so much about what other people thought. To measure your worth by external validation. It's exhausting. It's never enough. There's always someone prettier, more successful, more loved. If you're basing your happiness on comparison, you'll never be happy. I wish someone had told me that you don't have to be the best. You don't have to be the prettiest or the smartest or the most accomplished. You just have to be you, as authentically and as fully as possible. That's all. That's enough. And here's another thing nobody tells you. You don't have to have your whole life figured out. I'm 73, and I'm still figuring things out, still learning, still changing, still making mistakes. The idea that you're supposed to know who you are and what you want by some arbitrary age is nonsense. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to start over. You're allowed to not know. I went back to school at 47, got my master's degree while my children rolled their eyes and told me I was too old. But I wasn't too old. I was exactly the right age because I was finally ready. I was finally learning for myself, not for anyone else. And it was one of the best things I ever did. So if you're watching this and you feel stuck, if you feel like you've made too many mistakes, wasted too much time, let me tell you something. You haven't. Not unless you stop trying. Not unless you give up. Every day you wake up is another chance to make a different choice, to be a different person, to take a different path. But please, don't wait as long as I did. Don't wait until you're 73 to stop worrying about what everyone thinks. Don't wait until your body aches to travel. Don't wait until someone you love is gone to tell them how much they mean to you. Don't wait until you're old to start living. Because here's the truth that keeps me up at night sometimes. We don't know how much time we have. We think we do. We plan for retirement, for old age, for someday. But some people don't get old. Some people don't get there someday. And even those of us who do, we look back and wonder where it all went, how it passed so quickly. I remember being 23 like it was last week. I remember thinking I had forever. Now I'm 73 and I understand. We don't have forever. We have right now, this moment, and then the next one. And that's all we ever really have. So what are you going to do with your right now? Are you going to spend it worrying, comparing yourself to others, waiting for permission to be happy? Or are you going to dance in your kitchen, call someone you love, book that trip, forgive that grudge, try that thing you've been too scared to try? I know what I wish I'd done. I wish I'd been braver. I wish I'd been kinder. I wish I'd worried less and loved more. I wish I'd understood sooner that nobody has it all figured out, that everyone is just doing their best, that it's okay to be imperfect and messy and confused. Most of all, I wish I'd known that the person whose opinion matters most is your own. Not your parents, not your friends, not strangers on the internet. You. You're the one who has to live with your choices. You're the one who has to face yourself in the mirror every morning. So make choices you can live with. Be someone you're proud to be. I'm 73 years old, and I wasted so many years before I learned these things. Don't waste yours. Time is the one thing you can never get back. Once it's gone, it's gone. And you'll stand where I'm standing one day, looking back, hoping you made the most of it. Please, make the most of it, while you still can.